Today we'll talk about pass by value and pass by reference in C++ programs, see how they're different, and when you might want to use one versus the other. A link to the full source code used in this video should be up on the screen now and in the description of this video. I'll be using Vim to write code and using CMake to compile the C++ code. I have a video that walks through how to use CMake, so feel free to check it out if you want to learn more about how I'm compiling the code in this video. Now let's write some code. To show the difference between pass by value and pass by reference, let's use the example of taking a vector of numbers and doubling each of those numbers. So first, let's create a vector of ints containing 0, 1, 2, and 3. And second, let's write a function that doubles each number in this vector. In other words, we want a function that multiplies each number by 2 so that this vector becomes 0, 2, 4, 6. One way to write this function is like this, where we take a vector as input and iterate through each number by indexing into this vector. And in this for loop, we double each number by 2. Now let's go back to the main function to apply this function to x's and print what's in x's to see if the function worked as expected. I'll compile using CMake. And we see that the code compiled without any errors, so we can go ahead and run the code. Our program is printing 0, 1, 2, 3, which is not correct, because we were expecting 0, 2, 4, 6. It seems like our doubling function is not doing what we want. So let's debug this by going into the function and printing what the vector looks like before and after the for loop. Once I compile and run this code, I see that the for loop did, in fact, double the ints because it's printing 0, 2, 4, 6. So why is it that from the outside of the function, the vector contains 0, 1, 2, 3, whereas inside we see 0, 2, 4, 6? The fact that we print 0, 2, 4, 6 from inside of the function, but 0, 1, 2, 3 from outside of the function, tells us that the vector toDouble and the vector x's are different vectors. The reason they became different vectors is because of the way we declared the function. Notice that the type of the parameter toDouble is declared as standard vector int. This is called pass by value, which means that the argument you provide for this parameter will be passed by value, which is another way of saying it will be copied. So when you call this doubling function with x's, you're not actually passing x's into the function, you're passing a copy of x's into the function. So when the doubling function goes and doubles the ints in the passed in vector, it modifies the copy and does not modify x's. This is bad for two reasons. One, well, it doesn't do what we want it to do, which is to modify the original vector. And two, if the original vector contains a large number of items, copying the vector will take a long time and will slow down your program. To solve these problems, all you need to do is change the type of the parameter, like this. Before I explain what this means, let's just run the program to confirm that it works correctly now. We see 0, 2, 4, 6, so we're all good. Now let me explain what the ampersand means. The ampersand in this context means reference. So you would say the type of the parameter toDouble is a reference to a vector of ints. A reference is like an address of where this vector lives in your computer's memory, so when a function takes a parameter by reference, it knows exactly where the original vector is. In this case, the function double_v2 will know that toDouble is a vector that lives in the function main, which allows double_v2 to locate and modify the original vector. 99% of times, you want to pass by reference rather than pass by value, because you want to avoid making copies and also allow modifications of the original data when you need to. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching.